Welcome to the Common Man Football Show, and today's episode is the New England Patriots draft class. Starting with the first pick of the draft, Derek Rivers, defensive end out of Youngstown State. The first place to start is with production. He scored 72.66 in terms of solo tackle market share, 71.98 when it comes to sack market share, and 69.60 when it comes to his tackle for loss market share. The issues with this is based on his level of competition, the FCS. There's not been that many players from that level of competition that have become successful, and the players who were, guys like Junior Galette and Jared Allen, were much more productive than him when it comes to solo tackle market share. And here's even Noah Spence compared to Derek Rivers when it comes to solo tackle market share based on his level of competition. So he doesn't really hit the production profile of a special player or an elite player even like Jared Allen at the FCS level. And when it comes to athleticism, he only scored 58.02 in terms of explosiveness for his size, 79.22 in terms of speed for his size, and 79.36 when it comes to flexibility for his size. So he hits most of the marks that you're looking for when it comes to explosiveness, speed, and flexibility for a high-quality player. But that production for his level of competition is just not getting it done. So at the very least, you have a guy that I think can become a long-term starter because of his athleticism, but I don't think that there's potential for him to be a high-quality player based on his production at the FCS level. And I don't think that this is like Jamie Collins all over again either, because Jamie Collins was a much more productive player against higher competition at Southern Miss, which is saying something because it's Southern Miss, but Southern Miss is a lot different than Youngstown State. So that's the only thing I would really say is that I think with Derek Rivers you have a lot of unknowns based on the FCS production, which wasn't exactly elite compared to past players that were elite from that level of competition. And then we get to the next pick in Antonio Garcia, offensive tackle out of Troy. Athleticism-wise, he scored 54.63 in terms of explosiveness, 46.60 in terms of speed, and 16.67 in terms of flexibility for his size. That's just not getting it done when it comes to really great outcomes, especially flexibility for his size. 16.67 is just not good. To kind of give an example of this, Luke Jokel, like Antonio Garcia really matches up with Luke Jokel in terms of explosiveness and speed, except Luke Jokel is the one that actually has above average flexibility. And this is just Antonio Garcia in terms of other offensive tackle athletes. It's just not good. There's no starters with this profile. And I just worry about this pick in general. I don't really think this is a pick that's going to work out long term based on the lack of flexibility for his size. So I could be wrong, but the data doesn't really show that many players with his athleticism to become a long-term starter. Then we come to the next pick in terms of Dietrich Wise Jr., defensive end out of Arkansas. In terms of his production, he scored 47.36 in terms of solo tackle market share, 95.73 in terms of sack market share, and 64.82 when it comes to tackle for loss market share. All those marks are decent. He doesn't hit high quality marks when it comes to solo tackle market share, but he does have really high sack market share, and he has at least reasonably high tackle for loss market share. And athleticism-wise, there are some positives here. He scored 85.89 in terms of explosiveness, 40.58 in terms of speed, and 80.90 in terms of flexibility for his size. The speed is not elite, but he has above average explosiveness and he has above average flexibility, and both of those things are traits that are seen in other pass rushers that have become decently successful. So he's essentially like a less athletic Chandler Jones with less production than Chandler Jones. So I kind of see what they're trying to do here. I think best case scenario you have a long-term starter because his athleticism is, in a way, there's a lot of positives in terms of athleticism. He's never ever really going to be a dynamic player based on his athleticism traits and based on his production traits, but he is a player that at least has the chance to be a significant contributor for the Patriots. So I would say that's the best thing you can really expect from that. And then the last pick of the draft is Connor McDermott, offensive tackle out of UCLA. When it comes to his athleticism, he scored 37.21 in terms of explosiveness, 49.93 in terms of speed, at 74.20 when it comes to flexibility for his size, Again, above average flexibility, which is a positive thing to look at, but that explosiveness and that speed is just not getting it done when it comes to long-term success outcomes. But there are enough positives here that he could be a long-term starter, and that flexibility is enough that he could be decent when it comes to that. But I would just not expect Connor McDermott to be a high-quality player versus just a very solid player when it comes to his sort of athleticism traits. So what do I feel about the Patriots draft class? Unfortunately, they didn't have a lot of picks. But based on the picks that they made, it was not that impressive. You get a guy in Derek Rivers that is impressive as an athlete, but has lots of unknowns in terms of FCS production. Because again, elite stuff is just off the table. Like, it's really easy when it comes to FCS production because either you're Jared Allen or you're not Jared Allen. And that's the issue with Derek Rivers, is he's not Jared Allen, but he's not even Junior Gillette. He's not even Noah Spence. So from a production standpoint. So there's a lot of issues in terms of Derek Rivers in terms of his production at that level of competition, despite the fact that he has decent athleticism. And then you get to Antonio Garcia, who has significantly low flexibility for his size. Then you get to Dietrich Wise, who has below average speed for his size and also below average solo tackle market share, which kind of caps his upside, but he could become a long-term starter. And then of course you have Connor McDermott, who has below average explosiveness for his size, below average averages speed for his size, and above average flexibility. But the one thing that we know about him is he can't handle elite pass rushers. When you go to the tape of him going up against Myles Garrett, it was pretty evident that he just can't hold up to guys that are that explosive and that fast for his size, like Myles Garrett. So he's never really going to be elite because you just can't match up to that athleticism. Overall, again, I just don't think it's the best draft. I think I think the potential here is at least 3 starters, but I don't think any of these players are going to be high-quality players long-term. None of those guys. And even some of these guys have somewhat bust potential. Antonio Garcia has somewhat bust potential. So, again, you didn't have a lot of picks, but I didn't think you maximized your value with the picks that you had to get players that are really successful. And, again, I don't know. It was very much a Patriots-like draft. I've evaluated the Patriots drafts in the past. Unfortunately, one of my articles that I did for All Pro Football Source doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately. But I've never really been the biggest fan of the Patriots drafts overall. They usually get solid players, but they don't get elite players. At times, especially when it comes to in the later rounds, they're kind of wishy-washy as drafters in terms of that sort of area, for the most part. But that's the only thing I would say about the class. I just don't like the class in general. I just think they got lots of solid players, but that's it. It's not terrible, but it's not exactly great. And that's just that's just my final thoughts. From the data perspective of things, I think it's just not amazing when it comes to the Patriots draft. So again, my name is James Cobern. You can find my work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content, if you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. That really helps me out a lot. Also lets me know, if you like this content, if you want more of this content, I'll keep, churning out the videos in terms of trying to get to the, all the drafts. So that at least will be my main goal for right now, and then just figure out what to do from there. So again, thank you so much for all the support that I've received from all you guys, and I will be talking to you guys in the next video. Peace.